Hello, and welcome to another Warframe Builds video. So, before we get started, I'm just going to show off what this build can do. Alright, hello and welcome properly to the builds portion of the video. So, as you saw, this build is incredibly fast, and there are actually a lot of things you can do to vary it up to make this build more generally useful, but still keep some intense speed. So, I'm going to be going over like the variants, and of course, what I was using in what you just saw. So, for exactly what I was using, what you just saw, I was using this build. This build is the absolute max possible power strength that you can get on Volt, and as high of a duration as I can reasonably get. I could max Narrow-Minded, but my preference on a lot of my Warframes is that Narrow-Minded stays at this rank so I can counter it pretty well with Stretch. So you could get minimally more duration, and this is also maxed out on Sprint Speed. It does not get faster than this. In terms of just general sprinting, without the application of Coaction Drift. And this could go in the Exilus mod slot, and it would give you a very, very minor boost to your overall speed, but it would take 2 more Forma to be able to put this into the Exilus slot, which I don't personally feel is worth it, so I decided against it, because the boost is so tiny. So, as for things that you can do to this build, though, for making your team speedy and making it more accessible and providing this a buff in a wider range, instead of Power Drift, which is your lowest buff to your strength, using Stretch gives you about the same like boost range as you would normally have, which is actually fairly large, and it would be still incredibly fast. Losing 15% is nothing to cry over. It's still insanely speedy, and the controllability will go up actually a pretty significant margin with the 309%. It's pretty hard to control, especially if you're not used to it. So, other things that can obviously be swapped out here. We've got... Oh, spell energy wrong. Let's go with that. Energy Siphon up here. If you're having energy problems, or if you need more energy just generally, Energy Siphon is a good one to add here. You will slow yourself down just a little bit, but having energy generation is really good for those of you that don't have like Sinoid Simulor, which is what I use to generate a lot of energy, or don't have like Xeneric and stuff like that. That's a really good choice for a change. Along with that, if you're not worried about the team stuff and you are having energy problems, using a max streamline instead of power drift is also very good. It will give you a lot more uses of your speed before you run out. It makes it a lot easier to use your 3, which is also actually very good during this build, and frees you up a little bit. So if you need more efficiency, or if you're having energy problems, this is probably going to be better for you in the long run. In terms of things that are like pretty easily droppable, Armored Agility doesn't give you that much initial sprint speed. You're getting 0.15, which is like not an insane decrease in speed or anything like that. So if you prefer a mod here, like for example, if you are okay with Fleeting Expertise, obviously you would use it like, well, no, with Blind Rage it would be maxed still. With this, you have a shorter duration but significantly more efficiency, depending on if you want to use your 2 in bursts or not. And this build can be varied up a whole lot. All I would say though, definitely this bottom row is pretty much required for the build. You really need all this strength to get up to a speed where it's actually worth doing. Prime Continuity is obviously giving you enough duration to do it, along with, of course, Narrow-Minded. Like, Narrow-Minded and Continuity are actually probably both pretty much required for this. Maybe you could swap out Intensify, but that's a pretty significant knock to your speed as well. Pretty much just these 2 slots, your Exilus slot and your Aura slot, are kind of variable in my opinion. But mixing these up gives you actually a lot of options. Like if you wanted to drop those and let's say you wanted to throw in Shock Trooper. With this much strength, Shock Trooper is actually a really good buff. And with this much duration, it will last a very long time. So you could actually utilize that pretty well. Going this fast, shocking speed, if you've got some low-level exterminates, this will just help that. You'll actually be able to just annihilate enemies there with pretty much no problem. And this build's got a lot of like variability based on just preference. Like if you need to be tankier, like there are certain mods you'd obviously have to add Forma for. Like if you wanted to use like these last 2 slots here to go like let's say Quick Thinking and then Prime Flow, that would take Forma, but it would actually make you very hard to kill because obviously Volt Prime has the highest energy in the game. So you could do something like that to boost yourself to be like tanky but also super quick. And there's actually just a lot you can do with the build just in general. But the framework of the build, I would say, is this. This is like the general patchwork, and then the last 2 are preference. But as I said before, this right here, where's that? There it is. This is the fastest you can get on 3 Forma. With 5 Forma, obviously you add Coaction. Oh wait, whoops! I did not switch this back. This is the fastest you can get on 3 Forma, and obviously 2 more Forma to add in Coaction gets you a very tiny boost. But yeah, that is maximum speed Volt. And if you guys are interested, I will be playing this build pretty extensively from Friday probably into Saturday. The start time on Friday is a little variable based on my other member that will be with me whenever we go stream. But on Friday there's going to be a stream because I have been getting a lot of like questions on like the solo farm for Triton about Huracan's drop rate being better in rotation A and stuff like that. So me and Jacob have decided that we're going to do 100 runs of Triton and 100 runs of Huracan, which is 200 A rotations each, and then compare what our drop rates are. So if you guys are in for that, I will obviously be answering questions in chat. And between us doing the Triton runs and the Huracan runs, we're going to be giving away some prizes. Like I'm going to be giving away a Lex Prime set, a Prisma Gurkata is what Jacob will be giving away, and possibly a few other things that may be surprises, depending on how things go. So if you guys are interested in that, sometime like around midday on Friday, Central Time, around like between 2 and 6 is when it will start, somewhere in there. So if you guys are interested in that, I encourage you to come hang out, ask questions, and do all that kind of stuff, and it should be a real fun time. So I'll see you guys tomorrow.